Hey, my name is Rowan Smith and I want to welcome you to the Training for Trekking podcast. Now, this is the world's very first podcast which is entirely dedicated to helping you train, prepare and conquer your upcoming hike, trek or mountain adventure. So once a week, I'm going to be giving you quality and practical information on the subjects of physical preparation for trekking, dealing with altitude and nutrition on the trail, so you can know everything you need to be doing to have the best chance of a safe, enjoyable and successful adventure. So now you know what you're in for. Let's get into today's episode. Alright, hello guys. Today I want to give you a really quick tip around how to help sore muscles after hiking. So a couple of weeks ago, by the time this podcast was released, I went for a quick mid-week hike up in the Blue Mountains, which is an area a couple of hours away from Sydney, which has some really fantastic hiking and some really fantastic landscapes. And if you live in Sydney or if you've been to Sydney, you know it's not the most hilly or mountainous place in the world. So the Blue Mountains is really the closest place you can get any really type of serious elevation hiking going on. Now, the original intention of this quick trip up the Blue Mountains wasn't actually for a hike, and I was going to go do a photo shoot out in the outdoors. So I'd hike around a little bit, but nothing too serious, and get some photos for the business. But that only went for a couple of hours, and then I had a few hours free, and I was like, you know what, seeing I'm up here, I might as well go for a short hike before I have to get back to Sydney and do a bit of work. So the hike I chose was one which I'm pretty familiar with. It wasn't particularly long. It says, recommends about 3 to 4 hours on the sign, which is always a bit of an overestimation. And I knew it had a lot of steps. But I thought, look, this is a short one. It's within striking distance. I can bang this out nice and quickly, and then I can get back home and get back into my work. And the way this hike works is essentially it begins as a really straight down at the top of a canyon for pretty much hundreds and hundreds of steps, and it's just straight down. And then there's a really beautiful flat walk around the bottom of the canyon where you see some waterfalls, a bit of a canyon, lots of cliff hangs and all of that, and then pretty much straight back up, hundreds and hundreds of steps up to the top. This is pretty much what hiking in that area is all about. That's what a lot of the hikes are like, and I knew what I was getting into. But as I said before, what made this hike a bit different was I was in a bit of a rush. And so I made the decision that I was going to really zoom through this. I was going to charge through it as quick as I could. I wasn't going to bring, any heavy pack or anything like that. I wasn't going to take my time. I wasn't going to take the time to enjoy the scenery, but I was just going to zoom through. So essentially, I half jogged down the steps in the beginning. I was cruising down. I was like, you know what, let's speed this up, and got in a little half jog. And once I got to the bottom, I sort of just powered along the bottom canyon floor. And then on the way up, I really charged up and, just step. Didn't really have a rest unless I was letting someone through, and just pushed through it. And I was huffing and puffing and heaving, but it was good. And it all felt great because, I felt like I got a nice midweek taste of nature. I felt like I got a really solid workout in, and I still had plenty of time in the afternoon to get through what I needed. And obviously this isn't how I usually hike. I usually take a little bit extra time. I'm not in a rush, but this is a little bit different. And I was pretty happy with how it all went. And so I went home, got back to my work, all is well, I had a good day. But then on Thursday, the day after, when I woke up, I noticed one thing pretty much straight away. My calves were really sore. Apparently, they hadn't really appreciated me jogging down those hundreds of steps, especially considering I hadn't ran in a long time. On top of that, I hadn't really done any type of elevation. I'd mainly been hiking around my local area, which is pretty much dead flat, or walking around that. And so my body hadn't really been used to any type of elevation. So it was no real surprise that the calves were pretty tight in the morning. And that makes sense. And that's something that will happen. But instead of just hobbling around, which I know is very tempting and just waiting for something to get better, as a trainer, and as is something I do, I knew exactly what I had to do to make this a little bit more comfortable. And I knew exactly what type of techniques could make me relieve this sore muscles and, help me feel a little bit better and not have me hobbling around all day. And today that's what I want to talk about. Now, when it comes to sore muscles after hiking, I've talked through a lot of different strategies you can use to help here. So we talked through things like compression recovery gear, active recovery, getting your nutrition and hydration right afterwards, having some magnesium, doing like cold therapy, or water therapy, or, a whole bunch of other things. And all of those are great. Definitely things I'd recommend you get around. But if you haven't been proactive after your hike and done these things, if you haven't really thought through and you do wake up sore, one really simple technique anyone can do is doing a combination of both foam rolling and stretching. And this is literally as simple as it seems. So all you need to do is find yourself a foam roller, a massage ball. If you don't have either of those, maybe a water bottle or a trekking pole or something hard that you can, get on this particular muscle. And then you want to spend 2 to 3 minutes rolling over this particularly sore muscle. And you want to sort of roll up and down. You want to roll side to side. You want to just do a few different angles here and there, and whatever feels good. And if you feel a particular hot spot or a particular bit that feels like a knot, you can literally just sit on that knot. You don't have to move up and down. And you just have big breaths in, big breaths out, and just literally sit there for 10 breaths. And that can relieve a little bit. You probably want to spend about 2 to 3 minutes rolling over one area of sore muscles. Then immediately after, you're going to do 2 to 3 minutes of stretching the exact same muscle. So if it's your calves, you're going to roll your calves and stretch your calves. If it's your quads, you'll roll your quads and then stretch your quads. If your hammies, the same. And spend 2 to 3 minutes stretching that. It doesn't have to be an outrageously intense stretch, but you do want to feel something and you want to sort of slowly ease into it a bit more as you release off. And then once you've done that, you repeat on the other side. And that's literally it. This really, really simple combo is super effective at relieving sore muscles, whether it's after you're hiking or whether it's after you're training. And I highly recommend you give it a go. And you can do this on just one particular muscle. If you get a couple of muscles that are sore, you can do that. Or you can do it on a few. Like if you end up doing 3 or 4 bits, it'll take a bit of time, and I probably don't want to spend that much time foam rolling. But if you just focus on 1 or 2 key muscles, it can be super, super effective. Now, this probably isn't going to completely relieve the muscles. It'll definitely make things more comfortable and feel a little bit more comfortable immediately, but it probably won't completely hit the nail on the head. So I'd probably recommend maybe doing this twice a day for that day, maybe 3 times if you got a whole bunch of time. The next morning, maybe do it again. And I really do think it probably will make a difference. This is a really, really simple technique anyone can use. You can do it on the trail, you can do it at home, you can do it in the gym, whatever it may be, but it is very, very effective. So next time you're sore after a hike, next time you're sore after a training session, give this a crack. 2 to 3 minutes foam rolling, 2 to 3 minutes stretching, and you can go from there. Now, if you were in a situation where you're like, sweet, Rowan, this is all well and good, this sounds like a good plan of attack, but I'm not exactly sure what exercises will target the areas that I want. I don't know what foam rolling exercises, how to get the calves properly, or what stretches are going to be best, or whatever it may be. If you're in that situation, you do want a bit of extra help here, I would love for you to come and join the Training for Hiking and Trekking Facebook group. Now, inside that group, I'm always happy to share videos, share extra insights, and expand on these topics a little bit more. So if you were wanting an exercise to help relieve the quads or the hamstrings or whatever it may be, you can post up. I'll give you a couple of videos and you can go from there. So if you were interested in that, that's the Training for Hiking and Trekking Facebook group. You can find that in the show notes down below or check it out on Facebook. So thank you so much for listening today, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.